The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. Welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
All right. Before we make our Week 9 picks live here on the air, we have a couple weeks to go through. I could just do a quick recap, not of all the games, obviously, but just who won from Week 1 starting on. Week 1, Ryan Risky won 12-11. Week 2 is that funky week where Ryan Risky won 5-2.
That funky week.
Week 3, Ryan Risky won 13-12. So he was on a 3-game winning streak there. And then Week 4, I started to win. I won 12-11 in Week 4. I won 8-7 in Week 5. That was a bad week. I won 7-6 in Week 6. That was another bad week. Week 7, I won 9-8, which is ridiculous. And then we ended up tying last week, 7-7, and that was because Carolina won on that field goal. I ended up picking Carolina, so we ended up tied there. So I think I have a 1-game advantage on you. I think I picked 4 games correctly, and you picked 3. So that's and then we tied. So that would make sense, and that would equal 8 weeks. So so this is a big week here. I can set some ground here, or you can go ahead and tie it up. So let's pick the Thursday night game, which starts about a half hour from now. Cleveland at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's undefeated.
Yeah, the Bengals just don't play well on the road, and another problem is that the Browns just suck. I think I'm going to have to go with the Bengals. I mean, there's really no other option there.
I'm going to go with the Bengals, too. I mean, the Browns are just all sorts of bad right now, and Cincinnati...
Johnny Manziel's starting...
Yeah, Johnny Manziel starting, which is a problem. They're traveling to Cincinnati. It's a in-state rivalry game, but I think Cincinnati will win. Cincinnati really turned the corner this year. You know, sometimes they start off good like this, and then by now they'd be losing. But they played pretty well, and Andy Dalton has some really good targets and a very good running game to go along with it. But he's played pretty well this year, and I have to give him props for that. And I think maybe Marvin Lewis is finally the right coach, because I know a lot of times they want to ride him out of town, but he's done a pretty good job.
I mean, if they had won some playoff games with him, I think that people wouldn't hate him as much.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, they made the playoffs with like 4 consecutive years, and they've been knocked out in the first round every year.
Yes, I think that's right. San Diego went in there and beat them last year, I think, or 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Green Bay at Carolina. Carolina is undefeated this year, and Green Bay has 1 loss. They lost to the best defense in the country.
Yeah, I think Carolina is no longer undefeated after this week.
So you think the Packers are going in there and beating?
I think Green Bay's going to come out pissed over their lackluster performance against the Broncos.
I agree that it's going to be that the Packers are going to be pissed about it, and they're going to go into Carolina. Something about Carolina this year, they've been playing really well. Cam Newton's been playing really well. I haven't been a big fan of him, but he's really starting to grow on me this year. He doesn't have the weapons still that you'd like, but...
He doesn't have a good offensive line. He doesn't really have a running back. He doesn't have any wide receivers.
Right.
I mean, you got to feel bad for him. And yet he's still finding ways to win games.
Right, and then again, the Panthers have a really good defense, probably the best defense in the NFC, so because Seattle hasn't played like they're the best defense. So I'm actually going to go with Carolina. I think the Carolina Panthers have a good defense. Green Bay will be up against 2 good defenses, and I just think they struggle against those good defenses, and we know that they roll over teams that don't. But Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that many weapons. Now he's been able to do a lot of this on his own. But
Randall Cobb hasn't really been as involved in the passing game this year as you would think. I mean, that loss of Jordy Nelson's really hurting.
Right. So, I'm going to go with Carolina, and you'll go with Green Bay. Washington at New England. The Redskins have played better than we thought this year. New England's been running the table for everything.
I don't know. I won't be shocked if New England goes 16-0. I think they win this game.
I think they win this game, too. It's a home game. We know that they have the weapons that the Redskins just don't. So... I got to go New England as well. There's really not much to say about this one.
Nope, not at all. I mean, Tom Brady's been on another world this year, and it seems like he's getting better.
Yeah, it does sort of feel like he's getting better every week. Tennessee at New Orleans.
I think New Orleans is going to win. Tennessee's got a new head coach after firing Ken Wissenhunt.
I'm going to go with New Orleans as well. They've been starting to play a lot better. I think they're 3-4 right now.
Yeah, and then Drew Brees came off of one of the greatest passing performances in a single game. 7 touchdowns, like 508 yards or 511 yards.
I know it was over 500 yards.
It was one of the most exciting games you'll ever watch because Eli Manning threw for 6 touchdowns as well.
Right. Yeah, so I agree with you. I'm going to go with New Orleans. That's pretty easy right there. This one's a little bit of a tougher one. Miami at Buffalo.
Yeah, that really is tough. I mean, Buffalo's getting Tyrod Taylor back, although you don't know about Sammy Watkins, and Percy Harvin has not been healthy. Yeah, I mean, that's really tough. I think I'm going to go with Miami. They've been playing pretty well.
I'm going to go with Miami, too. I think the root of their problems was from that awful coach. And now that they've gotten rid of their coach, they do have some good weapons. I mean, Tannehill's a good quarterback. He's much better than whoever the Bills are throwing out there. And Lamar Miller hasn't played very well, but he's done good the last few weeks. They do have some good weapons, Jarvis Landry, some other players on the Dolphins. I just think they're more individually talented than the Bills are. So I agree with you. I think Miami will win, and Rex Ryan will go down again, unfortunately.
Yeah, their defense just has not played like a Rex Ryan defense this year.
Right. Here's one of the most interesting games of the week, besides the Packers and Panthers. The Rams at the Vikings. This is a very interesting thing.
Yeah, I think the Rams are going to win this one.
This one's going to be very close. Minnesota hasn't played as well as they could be playing, as they almost gave up games to the Bears, and pretty much all their wins have been very close. They even almost let Detroit beat them. St. Louis has a better quarterback at throwing the ball deep in Nick Foles, but Minnesota has better receivers. I don't know.
Stephon Diggs has been unbelievable.
This is a toss-up for me. It's at Minnesota, so they'll probably have the home field advantage. That Rams defense is good. I'm going to go with the Rams on the road. And
same here.
That's what you went with, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go with the Rams on the road. The Rams could be for real this year, and they have a good shot of getting a wild card. They're not going to win the division because Arizona's in there. But I think they'll beat out Seattle, which they already are beating out Seattle. And I think they'll beat out, which everyone's beating out, San Francisco anyway. So, that's definitely a stronger division than it was a few years ago. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, it's strong. I mean, a couple of years ago,
three pretty good teams.
Yeah, it was the 49ers that were one of the 3 good teams, and now the Rams overtook them.
Right, and it used to be that the NFC North was one of the strongest divisions. That's not the case this year. Jacksonville at the Jets.
Jacksonville at the Jets. I got to go with the Jets. They're probably mad after their last game.
I have to go with the Jets, too. There's no reason why they should lose this game, but it could be close. I don't know. Jacksonville has some pretty good receivers, but the Jets are just a better defense, better team. They'll probably get to whoever Jacksonville has out there at quarterback, who it doesn't really matter. I agree with you. Here's kind of an intriguing matchup now that the Steelers are kind of in a big hole here. Oakland at Pittsburgh.
I got to go with Pittsburgh. I mean, Oakland's a hot team right now. And I think Big Ben and Antonio Brown are going to have a good game.
I agree that the Steelers, have the better quarterback and stuff, but I just feel like the Raiders are going to win this. I'm picking Oakland on the road, and they are a hot team right now. Sometimes you got to go with the hot hand. I'm going to go with Oakland upsetting Pittsburgh at home. The loss of Le'Veon Bell, I think, will loom very large for them because now they don't really have a running game. I mean, D'Angelo Williams was good the first 2 weeks when Le'Veon Bell was out, but now going back into it after being off for like 4 weeks, not getting any snaps or reps really, I think the Raiders have a good chance of winning this game. Hopefully Amari Cooper goes off for my fantasy team.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper and the AC/DC era is underway. I think Big Ben and Antonio Brown are going to have a huge game, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And also Martavis Bryant, too. He could also get some good snaps. Giants at Buccaneers. Not much to say here.
Yeah, I think Eli Manning's going to build off of his performance last week.
He's still a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah,
I've always been a fan of him.
He is. I think Odell Beckham Jr. is going to have another really good game, too.
Overall, I've always liked him more than Peyton. I know Peyton is a better quarterback, but I've always liked Eli Manning more just because I like to root for the underdog sometimes. And Eli has 2 rings, Peyton has 1. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, Peyton makes the playoffs every year, except it seems when Eli does, he wins the Super Bowl.
And the Giants were underdogs in both of their Super Bowls.
You know, I kind of would love to see a Manning, you know, it's too late for this to happen now for it to be exciting, a Manning versus Manning Super Bowl. That would have been so much better than the Harbaugh Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, and there was
Who cares about the coaches?
Right, and there was probably a 7 or 8 year period where that they had a good chance of being Colts and Giants in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, there was a good chance for that to happen every year. It just never matched up right. So, yeah, we're both going to go with the Giants, and, yes, hopefully Odell Beckham Jr. goes off for my fantasy team again. Atlanta at San Francisco.
Atlanta at I got to go Atlanta. I think San Francisco improves by benching Colin Kaepernick because, as I said multiple times, I think he's the worst starting quarterback in the NFL.
I think all the players sort of hate him, and I think that's a big reason why he was benched. Yeah, I'm definitely going Atlanta. They've been shaky the last 2 weeks, but they've been able to win. I think they won a couple weeks ago, like 10-7 or something. I don't know. They've had very strange games, but Devontae Freeman should be able to tear open the 49ers here, and Matt Ryan should be able to throw all over the field to Julio Jones and whoever else. So, yeah, I'm going with Atlanta as well. Broncos at the Colts. Peyton Manning going back to his former team.
Yeah, I think it's really tough. I mean, you want to say the Colts, it's just they've been so inconsistent this year. They just have not been good. I think I have to go with the Broncos. I think they somehow stay undefeated after this week.
I'm going opposite. I'm going Colts. Andrew Luck needs a big week, fantasy-wise for me, but also
now you wonder if the Colts
team.
lose this week, if Chuck Pagano is going to be the next coach to get fired.
There's been reports he's already on the hot seat.
Right. Did you hear today the Lions fired their GM and the team president? And that's after firing 2 of their coordinators last week.
Yep. Yeah, they're in a lot of trouble.
You can tell ownership is not happy.
No.
When there's in-season firings, it's bad. Especially in those positions.
Right. Yeah, but I'm going to go with the Colts. I think, they lost last week in a thrilling game. That was one of the most exciting Monday night games.
Yeah, at the end it was. At the beginning, you're just kind of sick of watching incomplete pass after incomplete pass after incomplete pass. Oh, then the occasional interception.
Yeah.
But it was a tough game in the rain, though. I mean, it was tough on passers.
This is definitely a must-win for the Colts, especially if they want to win that division, their
division is still so bad that they could probably finish 6-10 and make the playoffs.
It's possible, but you don't want to take that risk. Obviously, I'm going to go with the Colts. I think they're going to win.
Could you imagine though if they win the Super Bowl, finishing 6-10?
Yeah, but once you get into the playoffs,
anything can happen.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, Luck has had some good games and some bad ones in the playoffs.
All right, the Sunday night game would have been good at the beginning of the season. Eagles at Cowboys.
That's so tough. The Cowboys are just so bad right now. I have to go with the Eagles.
I'm going with the Eagles as well. The Cowboys, yeah, like we said, if they had Tony Romo, I'd go with the Cowboys. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, if Tony Romo's healthy, I would.
But even the Eagles, I mean, Sam Bradford is horrible.
Yeah, he's proving that he just doesn't have consistent arm strength.
You know, a lot of people thought it was because of his injuries, but I just think he's a bad quarterback now.
Yeah, I mean...
The Rams were very smart to trade him.
Right, he's really... He doesn't have, the arm strength, and, guys like Jordan Matthews that were dominated last year just are not producing it the way you would expect them this year.
Right, and we know Nick Foles isn't very good, but he's much better than Sam Bradford, and St. Louis will be looking for a quarterback, obviously, soon, but... Nick Foles is serviceable right now. And the Monday night game, the big matchup of the week, the 2-5 Bears against the 2-6, I think.
I think they're both 2-6.
Are they both 2? Well, maybe. I don't think San Diego's had a bye week yet. Or maybe they both are 2-6. I don't know. I know they both have 2
San Diego
wins.
has not had a bye yet.
So Bears at Chargers, they both have 2 wins.
Yeah, they both have 2 wins. That's the important thing. Actually, yeah, you're right. The Bears are 2-5. I'm going with the Chargers. I think Phillip Rivers has another explosion game, just throwing for 350 or 400 yards.
Just for a difference of opinion, I'll go with the Bears.